So my dad was in the Navy. He was in that area, in that Philadelphia area. And my mom was a nurse. And it's funny because they met in Philadelphia, but growing up, at one point, they were one bus ride away from each other in the Philippines, but they ended up meeting in Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Shortly after I was born, though, like I was 2 months old, we moved to Hawaii, where I really say I'm from. When people say, "Where are you from?" I say I'm from Hawaii because that's all I remembered growing up.
How long were you there for?
Oh, I was there until my teens.
Okay.
Yeah. Growing up in Hawaii it was different because my dad was in the Navy, so he was out for months at a time because it was the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
So his ship was out a lot. So he'd be out for 8 to 10 months at a time. So my mom she was the one that really held the family together. Yeah.
And were you Catholic at the time?
Yes.
Grew up Catholic?
Born and raised Catholic, but we were Sunday Catholics because my mom was, she was holding the family together because my dad was out a lot. So she was the one who was take us to church on Sunday, bring us to faith formation classes, which is funny because the faith formation classes that we had were on base.
Wow.
Yeah, it was on base. So there was a year that we had our faith formation classes in the side of a volcano because the housing, the military housing that we were on was inside the crater of a small volcano. You couldn't tell it was a volcano.
Did the volcano ever explode?
It's a dead volcano. It's been dead for millions of years.
Okay.
But it looked like you were surrounded by mountains. But in actuality, you were inside a volcano, and on the side of the volcano, they had created like bunkers. They dug tunnels and they became bunkers, and we used some of those bunkers for faith formation at times.
Fun.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. Like you're in like a little cave, but there are tables and everything, and we had faith formation there. But it was tough because we moved around a lot, so I couldn't really develop in terms of my knowledge of the faith, and because it was like we were always starting over again whenever we moved. Because we moved back and forth from Hawaii, Seattle. We were in California for a very short period of time. But we moved around a lot, so I can say that my faith was just in its infancy up until my teens.
And you say we. Do you have any siblings? It was just you and your parents?
I'm the oldest son, the only son, and then I have 2 younger sisters, Christine and Cindy. Christine, she goes here to St. Faustina also. She has 5 kids. Cindy, she also goes to here at St. Faustina. She just moved here just a few months ago. She has 1 kid and a stepson. Yeah.
So the whole family's back together.
We're all back together. Yeah, there were times when we had some of them, move around, but we're all back here at St. Faustina. We keep coming back here to St. Faustina.
Nice.
Great
Okay.
parish.
So childhood in Hawaii, and then you talked about like early teens. Is that when you moved to the Philippines, or were you still there?
My dad, when he retired, after he retired, he wanted to move the family to the Philippines for a few reasons. One reason was, economically, a dollar goes a long way in the Philippines. They could send us to a Catholic school in the Philippines. They could afford to do that.
Oh, nice.
And other things, we got to learn the culture, the language as well. But it was an adjustment. It was a real adjustment, culture shock.
I can only imagine.
Growing up in Hawaii. And the next thing you know, I'm in an all-boys school, an all-boys Catholic school. Oh, boy. That was different.
How was that?
Well, I hardly knew anything about my faith at the time.
Yeah.
So my classmates, they'd grown up in it.
Mm-hmm.
They had taken religion classes all their lives. When I was in Hawaii, the only thing I knew about the rosary was when my grandma would visit. I can still see it. If I close my eyes, I can still see her sitting at the end of the hall, holding her rosary, praying at night. And that's all I knew about the rosary. But in the Philippines, you've got things like the Santo Niño traveling from house to house, and people praying novenas and all of that. And I was like one of those wide-eyed guys. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here.
What is this
I
sorcery?
know, what is this? There's a lot of prayers, I'm like, and everybody had everything memorized.
Isn't Sunday Mass enough?
And yeah, so in Hawaii, in the Philippines, when I'd moved to Manila, I went to an all boys Catholic school, so it was a real education in the faith. I was like from ground zero. I almost failed out of high school because of my religion grade.